Hello! How are y'all? Doing well, I hope. We're gonna turn that down to just be... oh, that's the wrong one. Oh. There we go, that's a little quieter. I think that's better volume, right? Or is that too low? I guess you really can't hear that at all. There we go, that sounds good. No. How are y'all today? My lighting's a little bit worse, but we're fine. We'll deal with it. I'm okay. I'm okay. I think I'm okay. Alright, let's see. Resize this to get back out of the way. And let's go back to where we were in our Godot stuff. So we had just finished our stuff on, what is this? Animations. We made it through like, part 3 of the Vampire Survivors clone tutorial. So now we get to move on, and we're going to start part 4. So let's go ahead and get our project on Godot up and running. Survive stuff. And where we left off, we have our little animations. They change directions. It's hard to tell when the player is actually changing directions, but other than that, unless it fixed itself somehow, animals become hats now. Dogs are hats, confirmed. All right, so we've got that. I doubt we're going to get that fixed in the next one, but let's start moving on. Learn something.
In this episode, you will learn how to create hurt boxes and hit boxes, and how to hurt the player. Hello, and welcome to how to create a Vampire Survivors clone.
Alright, that was definitely a separate cut in the editing stuff. Because listen to the volume of him talking here.
How to create hurt boxes and hit boxes, and how to hurt the player. Hello,
and it instantly drops like 2 decibels.
And welcome to how to create a Vampire Survivors clone in Godot 4. So today we're just going to get right into it, since it's a bit of a big one, and we're just going to be adding some HP values to our player and our enemies. So var HP equals 80.
Okay, this is still, the music is maybe a little higher than what I wanted. Okay, that sounds good.
Just gonna control save that and export var HP equals 10 for.
So export var HP equals 10 and variable HP equals 80. So player, sorry, no, we need to go into our scripts for player. Variable HP equals 80, you know our enemy. We forgot that. Export variable HP equals 10. That's all we needed, right?
Just gonna control save that and export var HP equals 10 for our enemy, which will create a new drop down there. Now, we're...
Alright, so let's go back, make sure we've got that. So, player. I don't see the players. The enemy's got one, though. The player does not.
We're going to be creating a hurt box and a hit box. So all this is going to be is a node called an area 2D, which is just a area that detects collision but doesn't actually enforce it. We're going to give this a collision shape.
Okay. Let's see, where I'm spacing now. Where did he make that new scene at? So just up here. Area 2D. Child. Collision shape 2D.
2D. I'm just going to call this one hurt box. Yeah, no, I'm going to call this one hit box. So we're going to start with the hit box, since it's the most simple one. And I'm just going to give this a timer as well, which we will use in good time. I'm going to...
And we're adding a timer.
Do a control save. I'm going to create a new folder called utility. And save the hitbox in there, and then add a... I'm going to do a control save. I'm going to create a new folder called utility.
Living in the shadow of the rich and powerful. But all of this is about to change.
Nothing is more important.
And save the hitbox in there, and then add a new script. So we're going to start off very simple with what a hitbox is. So a hitbox is sort of I'm hitting you versus a hurt box, which is I'm getting hurt. Think of it in the
I'm quite familiar with fighting games, so I am familiar with the topic of hurt boxes and hitboxes.
So we're going to just give this a very simple export. Variable for damage. I'm going to make that equal 1, and we're going to save that for now. We will be returning to our hitbox, but we're going to be making our hurt box.
Alright, let's see. Export variable damage equals 1.
We'll be returning to our hitbox, but we're going to be making our hurt box, which is in a very similar structure, an area 2D, which I'll rename as hurt box. It's going to have a collision shape, and it's also going to have a timer.
So we have our area 2D. And we'll add the child with a collision shape and a timer.
Now I'm gonna Control S to save the hurt box in the utility folder.
The hurt box is being saved in the utility folder. Okay. Too many tabs.
And add a new script to it. Now I'm just going to get my
what? Your background,
my
sir.
reference script so I don't screw anything up. And we are going to be making multiple types of hurt boxes within the same script. And we're going to be doing this by creating an export enum. And this is going to define what the style of hitbox is going to be. So we're going to be making one which has called cooldown, one which is called hit once, and one which is called disable hitbox. And this is going to be a variable, and it's going to be called the hurt box type, and we're going to make it equal 0 because cooldown is 0, hit once is 1, and disable hitbox is 2 because it is an enum. Now, I'm just going to quickly do some referencing. So, onReady var collision equals collision shape 2D. OnReady var disable timer equals get, well, we're not going to do a get node. Instead, I'm just going to rename this as disable timer.
And we're going to make it unique.
And we're just going to do disable timer.
I guess we don't have to make it unique since it's all within the same scene. Alright, so we're going to move this up here real quick so I can copy the stuff that he put in. So for our hurt box, we have... Oh no, that's still the hit box. We don't have a script attached to it yet. Export enum. We don't know what that is yet. Hopefully he'll give us a bit more clarification. Cooldown. Hit once. Disable hit box. Variable hurt box type equals 0. And then we've got an onReady variable for collision equals the collision shape 2D, which it's going to detect because we've got that inside of our little scene manager here. And we've got the onReady variable to disable timer. What is it? So we've got that timer there and it'll get disabled.
And then we're also going to create a signal called hurt, which we'll get into later, since we're going to create a signal from the area. So what a signal is, it's a
signal hurt damage. Like that.
Later,
Looks like it.
Since we're going to create a signal from the area. So what a signal is, it's a built-in condition for a node type. So for an area type, which is able to detect collisions but not actually enforce them, we are able to detect if an area enters our area. So let's say, for example, our hitbox enters our area, our hurt box. We want to run the area entered. We'll do a bit more in theory time there, but to connect a signal, you double click it, it will create a receiver method, it will try to connect to a script, which is normally the parent, and we click on connect and it creates a new function. So now whenever an area enters, this will trigger. So we're going to be trying to get traction, which is will...
Alright, so how does he do this? So he goes over to the hurt box and chooses the area entered node.
It will create a receiver method. It will try to connect to a script, which is normally the parent, and we click on connect and it creates a new function.
Cool.
So now whenever an area enters, this will trigger. So we're going to be trying to get the hitbox to be detected in this script. So I'm going to start this with if area, and the area is going to be the area that enters, is in group attack. Currently this does nothing because there's no group called attack, but we're going to go into our hitbox and add our hitbox into the attack group. Just going to Control S that to save.
Okay, so we're going to back up because he did a few steps. If area dot is in group attack.
attack, but we're going to go into our hitbox and add our hitbox into the attack group.
Okay, so we go into our hitbox. I'm spacing out. Oh, there's a thing under there. Signals groups.
Just gonna Control S that to save. We're then going to check if the area has the variable damage. So with
Oi, advertisements. Advertisements, go away. There's way too many of them. Alright, let's see. So then we're back into the hurtbox script. If not, area.get damage. Come on, go over there. If not, area.get damage. So it is in quotes.
So
Equals null. Wouldn't that just like print the value of the damage though, instead of getting the actual variable for damage?
So we're checking that it does have damage because we're going to need this value, and we want to make sure that our hurtbox script isn't going to crash the game. So this is why we do the checks. We're then going to match the hurtbox type, and this is going to be sort of how the hurtbox resets itself. So on our enum, we're going to be checking for cooldown. If it is on the cooldown, we're going to disable the collision shape 2D. And we're going to be doing this with collision.callDeferred set disabled true. And
That is a lot of text to copy. Okay. So then we have match hurtbox type. I have a hard time reading that. Zero cooldown, not equals. Collision.call deferred. Set. Disabled. True.
And this will disable the collision shape. Now, this can be done with collision.disabled equal true, and this will technically work, but there is a issue when this is done in real time, and the description actually says this project should be changed with object.setDeferred. You'll get a bug when this happened. And then after a short period of time, let's set this to 0.5 seconds. So we're just going to set this to 0.5.
Also set it to one shot, so it only runs once. Where was that at? Disabled timer.
seconds. So we're just going to start this timer, dot start, and we're going to connect a new signal called timeout. So
Yeah. No, disable timer dot start. Expected this after if assignment is not allowed inside an expression. I don't know what that means. Let's see, he's not getting that error, is he? If not, area.get damage equals null. Okay. So I just need a second space in there. Why do I do 2 spaces?
this will trigger when it the timer times out, which is going to be 0.5 seconds. So we're going to connect that signal, and we're just going to re-enable the collision shape. So instead of true, we'll set this to false because we don't want it to be disabled.
So you go over here, we go to the note. No, where is it? I missed a step in there.
Called timeout. So
under timer, there's a node called timeout. Oh, because we were still in groups. So we go to our node, timer, connect it to the hitbox. It moved it there. Am I missing something? Oh, he's in the hurt box. Okay, so that's why we had the issue. So this one is still timer. But we need to go to the hurt box. So disable timer. So here we go to the disable timer, timeout, connect it to the hurt box. That's right. Yes. And then we'll add it down here. All right, cool.
this will trigger when it the timer times out, which is going to be 0.5 seconds. So we're going to connect that signal, and we're just going to re-enable the collision shape. So instead of true, we'll set this to false because we don't want it to be disabled. And that's all we need to do for the cooldown. Now, the second type is going to be hit once. This is a bit more complicated, and we're not going to go into this in this tutorial. We will go into it in a future tutorial, just not this one. There's a couple of additional layers that need to be made before we actually create this hurtbox type. Now, the next one, which is going to be disable hitbox, is instead of disabling the collision shape in the hurtbox, we're going to be disabling it within the hitbox. So we're going to be going if area.has method, and I'm just going to call this method temp disable. This is going to be a user defined method which we'll add into our hitbox later.
Okay.
We're going to do, if it has the method, we're going to temp disable it. After.
Alright, so that's quite a bit we need to add, so I'm going to move that up here and get to adjusting all of this stuff. So this is in our hurt box. We've got the cooldown, collision, disable timer. We go down here to 1. What is it? Hit once. Pass. 2. What is it? Disable. Hitbox. If area.has method temp disable methoid, no, method. If area has method temp disable area dot temp disable.
For that, we're going to create a variable called damage equals area dot damage, and then we are going to emit our own custom signal that we made. So you can probably see that in our GD script signals, we've actually created our own one. So we're just going to type in emit signal, hurt, and then damage as an argument. So
emit signal, hurt, damage. Underscore signal. No quotes on damage.
when we emit this signal, it's going to send in the area's damage, and that's going to be the hitbox. Now,
Okay, so we don't want the text for damage then, we want the actual damage variable.
we added this temp disable. We're trying to call it, so we actually have to add the it within our script. So I'm just going to be doing a little bit more referencing. So once again, we're just going to rename this, and I'm just going to be calling this disable hitbox timer, and then we're just
No one's in the hitbox.
going to do the standard onReady var collision equals collision shape 2D onReady var disable timer equals disable hitbox timer, and then we're just going to do a function temp disable, and it's exactly this. Well, it's very similar to how the hurtbox does it, which is just call third set disabled true. Then we're going to start our disable timer. Well, and I say it's similar. What I actually mean is that it's identical to it. So once again, we're going to make this every half second. The frame is going to re-enable, and it's going to be a one shot, so it only runs once. I'm going to connect the timeout to our hitbox, and we're just going to re-enable the collision shape. False.
Okay. I'm following the logic. All right, so we go to our hitbox. So we need to actually pull in the hitbox script over here. Export variable collision equals collision shape 2D. On ready variable. Disable timer. Disable hitbox timer. Then we've got the function. Temp disable. Collision call deferred. And we're going to put set. All lowercase though. Disabled. Not miss our quotes. True. When we don't miss our quotes, I said.
And that is actually all we need to do with the hitbox, except for...
Wait, why is this not working? The default value using $, which won't return nodes in the scene tree before ready is called. Export on ready. Huh. That's what it's trying to tell me. On, wait, no, why did I put on export? On ready. Wrong instance.
Collision layers. So at the moment, these areas and these functions will kind of, they'll trigger for anything, even though we have our checks, and we don't really...
Oh yes, we still need to connect the timer for this. So we are going to select the disable hitbox timer. Go to the signal. On disable. Maybe I missed it. Alright, where did he do this at?
Want every false. And that is actually all we need to do with the...
Oh, I missed half the code. That's why. Disable timer. Dot start.
hitbox, except for collision layers. We need collision shape.
I think I missed a step in here
And
still.
we're just going to re-enable timeout to our hitbox. It's going to be a one shot, so it only runs once. Going to connect the timeout.
Okay, back up.
Then we're going to start our disable timer. Well, and I say it's similar. What I actually mean is that it's...
So we go to hitbox, disable timer. Disable hitbox timer. Okay, so we go to our hitbox. Disable timer. Oh. Disable timer. We've got that there. Disable hitbox timer. Okay, so when we go here, it's just disable timer. Did we connect our other one? We connected the hitbox timer, didn't we? Shit. Alright, so 0.5, one shot. feel like when we go back to our hitbox, we didn't do this one. Unless putting this in here. I definitely missed some stuff. All right, let's back up.
Disable. And then this, well, it's very similar to how the hurt box disabled. The disable timer. Well, we're to it. So once again, we're going to make this.
I've got both of these set. Function temp disable. Does it just automatically call that now? No, it's got no thing here. Alright, let's back
Disabling
up.
the collision shape in the hurt box, we're going to be disabling it within the hit box. So we're going to be going if area box disable this one, which this actually there's a tutorial. We will go into it in a future tutorial once.
Where does he put this first one on at?
That signal timer times out. This will trigger when it the timer times out, which is going to be 0.5 seconds. So we're going to connect that signal and we're just going to re-enable.
So when I go over here to the hurt box, it's calling itself from these functions here. That's why we have these. Disable timeout. There, okay. When we go to the hitbox, it's not doing that yet.
Shape equals area signal script signals. We've actually emit signal.
We want to start shooting in 3 weeks.
I think I was ahead of where he's at so far. Yes.
Re-enable, and it's going to be a one shot, so it only runs once. I'm going to connect the timeout to.
Alright, so we go to our hitbox. We go to disable timer hitbox. Save all the scenes. We set it to the 0.5 on set. We go to the node timeout. Disable hitbox timer.
To our hitbox.
Connect it to the hitbox.
And we're just going to re-enable the collision shape. False. And that is actually all we need to do with the hitbox, except for collision layers. So
okay. I was just missing a simple step because his thing didn't show up, but mine did.
The moment,
good old updates on software.
These areas and these functions will they'll trigger for anything, even though we have our checks. And we don't really want everything to be on the same collision layer. And the collision layers are just sort of how things detect each other. So we're going to go into the project settings and we're going to set the names of the layers. So layer 1 will be world, layer 2 will be player, layer 3 will be enemy, and layer 4 will be loot.
Okay, project settings, we're going to set that up. Where did he go to get to that, though?
We're going to go in.
It just loads it up. So he's under layer names, 2D physics. Physics? No. Layer names, 2D physics. Okay. We got world, player, enemy, loot. Okay.
Into the project settings, and 2 will be player. We'll be going more in depth with layers in the theory time, so we'll talk about it more. But we're going to, in the kind of parent of the hitbox, we're going to actually be removing the layers, and if you kind of mouse over, you'll see that they now have names. And we're going to be doing the same thing for the hurt box.
That's under collision object 2D in the node scene manager, or in the node scene inspector. So hitbox, collision, remove, hurt box, collision, remove. So player, world, enemy, loot. Okay. Cool.
But we're going to be adding our hurt boxes and hit boxes into our player and our enemy. So we're going to start this off with the hurt box. And we're going to...
So he goes into the file system to find the hurt box layer. And he adds it to the enemy.
Go into our enemy scene. We're going to right click and click on editable children. We're going to go into the collision shape 2D, and we're going to add a rectangle shape. So
enable children. I don't see editable children. New rectangle shape.
every one of these will have its own unique collision shape. We're going to be making the enemy's hurt box quite big because we want it to be easy to hit the player, and this is actually all that needs to be done. We're just going to make it so that the hurt box type is currently in the cooldown. It's not going to do much, and we're also going to be making so that the collision shape, the hurt box, we only want this to be on the enemy layer.
So take this. Where does he get that first one?
Own unique collision shape. We're going to be...
So we're going to make the rectangle. We'll be generous with the hurt box.
making the enemy's hurt box quite big because we want it to be easy to hit the player, and this is actually all that...
And then he goes back to hurt box.
That needs to be done. We're just going to make it so that the hurt box type is currently in the cooldown. It's not going to do much, and we're...
Hurt box type? I don't see anything like that. Built-in script cooldown? I don't think we built anything like that in our scripts, did we? Hurt box type. Okay, no, it's over here. Just when we go up here, it's not showing. So it'll only let us change it in the actual hitbox thing. So we have to go into the actual script, whereas here, it's got the built-in script right above where it's area 2D. But if we go back to where we're on enemy doggo, even when we select this, it's not available there. Okay.
we're also going to be making so that the collision shape the layer.
So we're setting it to 3. Ah! No. I'm not advertising for you. Go away. You are so loud and obnoxious.
And then for the hitbox, we're going to do the same thing. Editable children, collision shape. We're going to...
And then we're adding a hip.
add a...
So we're adding a
we're going to do the
hitbox
same thing.
and adding it to the enemy. Editable children.
Editable children, collision shape. We're going to add a new rectangle, and we want the hitbox to be a bit small. So I'm going to hide the hurtbox for the moment, and we're going to reshape the size of the hitbox to be just a bit small because we want the enemy to really be on top of it, on top of the player when it hits it. So
Okay. So we can hide that. So then we should probably take this one and adjust it down a hair. No, not that. Yeah, we'll put this like maybe a little thinner even. That looks solid.
I'm just going to save that, and I'm going to be going into the collision, and I'm going to be making so that the hitbox is on the player layer.
Okay, so we're on the hitbox. On the collision. Where is it at in there? Collision object 2D. It's just under collision. Why don't I have a collision tab here? Is it because I need to do it here? That would be why.
And we'll save that. I'm gonna also hide the collision shape, which will be on layer world, I believe. Well, it'll be associated with the body, which is on the player world. We'll leave that as that. So in the player, we're also gonna add a hurt box. We're not gonna be adding a hitbox to the player because we don't really want the player to directly hurt the enemies. So I'm going to click on Editable Children. We're going to go to Collision Shape, add a rectangle, and I'm going to be making the player hurt box quite small because you want to give the player as many advantages as they can. So that...
All right, so player, we are adding a hurt box. Editable children. You don't have a shape, so we're going to create a rectangle for you. For that though, let's actually take the collision shape and we'll make it a little smaller. Give you something to work with. So that you are less thick. No, we'll keep it the width of the head and the feet. And I'm guessing we're going to set these... We're going to take a guess here, because it's the player. We want these on this guy. Did you already answer that?
They feel like the game is more fair. And we're just going to go into the collision, and we're going to make it so that the hurt box is respondent to the enemy.
Ah, got it backwards.
The enemy's hitbox. So, in fact, I should probably just swap these around. So, the hurt box is relevant to the player. The enemy's hurt box is, relevant to the enemy, and the hitbox is relevant to the player. Okay, cool. So I did.
Damn it.
Right the first time. And then we are going to be connecting the hurt signal. So I'm going to connect it there. And then
So the player's hurt signal.
I am just going to be doing HP minus equals damage. And then I'm just going to be printing the damage that is, well, the HP that the player takes, just so you can.
Alright, so let's back up a hair.
The hurt signal. So
in Godot script, we take the hurt box and we go over to node. We don't have that one. Son of a bitch. Alright.
enemy, and the hitbox is relevant to the player. Okay, cool. So I did it right the first time. And then we are going to be connecting.
So while we have player selected, we select hurt box. And we should have something called damage. Why don't we have damage? Script. Hurt box. Did we not set damage here? Signal, hurt, damage. Is this another one of those that I... Okay.
The hurt signal. So I'm gonna connect it there.
So we go into player. We have the player script and function on hurt damage. And then we go into the hurt box. Ah, no. What? No, that's not right at all. Shit. Stupid outdated software.
Is relevant to the player.
Alright, let's try this
the
again.
Enemy's hurt box is relevant to the enemy, and the hitbox is relevant to the player. Okay, cool. So I did it right the first time. And then we are going to be connecting the hurt signal. So
We go to the player. Does the player not have a hurt signal? I may have royally screwed up. Hurt damage variant. So that's in the... Where is that? We definitely screwed up somewhere. Okay, so we got that.
Why do projects ship faster on Miro? Is it
Shush, 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 shush. You are fine. We don't need to talk about whatever it is you're advertising on my background music.
Yeah, all three. Innovation belongs.
One of these days I might be able to afford some good background music without interruptions, but until then, we're going to pause it. Alright, so let's back up because we need to take a look at this code again. So where does he actually set the thing to call
Enemy.
being hurt?
So we're right, and we're going to unique. And we want it to be all the type is for. We're going to do the same at the moment of middle layer and up layer. So which will be with the so to deploy the ape hands.
Yeah, we got that.
Right. So again, I'm so gonna connect it there.
So let's double check this. And move this up here, double check my lines of code. So his player variable movement, HP, sprite, walk frame, function physics delta. Hurtbox is on. Why don't I have the other options you do, though?
And then I am just going to be connecting the.
So it should be above area 2D. It has a Godot script. All right, fine, yeah. We'll save all these. So in here, it's saying it's got the script. When you go back to the player, or box, okay, here it has the script. Did we just need... I think we just didn't have it saved or something like that.
The hurt signal. So I'm gonna connect it there.
Where does he attach it?
So I'm gonna.
He attaches it to player. Target method not found. Specify a valid method or attach a script to the target. Wait. Is the player script not attached? What? Okay, yeah, his player has a script attached. Mine does not. Then what is my player's script attached to? I am so lost right now. So player got Godot. Is there a way to see where this is attached? Was that all I needed to do? Was for whatever reason, I somehow didn't have that attached to the player? Is it that simple? What? The fuck? Why? Why? How did I manage to undo that? Alright. Hurt box. Oh, where is it? It's just base there. I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know how I got a player without a script attached to it, but sure, apparently I did. Okay.
Connect it there. And then I'm just going to be doing HP minus equals damage. And then I'm just going to be printing the damage that is, well, the HP that the player takes, just so you can see it down below. And in the enemy, we're going to be doing the exact same thing with the hurt box. We're just going to be doing HP minus equals damage. And
Alright, so we go to the enemy. Let's see, pull up our enemy doggo. And our hurt box is damaged. Attach it to the enemy doggo. HP minus equals damage.
we're also going to be doing a if HP is less or equal to 0, we're going to queue free our enemy. This isn't going to be ran in the current
HP is less than or equal to 0. Queue free. This
build,
is on
but
the enemy.
what Q3 does, it deletes the enemy from the game. So it's effectively a way of destroying the enemy. And now, for this to run, we should be able to click on play. And hopefully within the script, you'll be able to start seeing some HP values. Oops, my bad. So walking towards us, and you can see right there that the player's HP is going down in values.
Okay. You ready to see if it's broke? I think we broke it. All right. Let's see. Save all scenes. int and string operators.
That the player's HP. So script on play.
HP minus equals damage. Okay, that broke, but HP minus equals damage. There's nothing after it. Print HP. Invalid operators int and string. Area.damage. This is why we need to actually understand coding to get into this.
This to run, it's effectively a way of destroying the enemy. And now, for this to run, we should be able to click on
So on player. Oh, wait. I don't think his has that on it. His just has that. Well, plus that. Save all scenes, Control Shift Alt S. And boom. Okay, yep, boom. Still detonates. Breakpoint, HP minus equals damage. Emit signal hurt and emit signal damage. We don't emit a signal for damage, do we? Hurt, damage, variable. Is it supposed to be this? Under the player, emit signal, hurt, damage. Alright, don't break. It broke. So it's supposed to do 1 damage, right? So the hurt box, emit signal, hurt, damage. On hurt box, hurt. I'm going to have to do this so I can try and dissect this a little better, looking up at both of these. All right, so on his player code.
Play, and hopefully within the so what is going to be play.
On his player. Oh, where's my move and slide? Oh no, I'm still in the hurt. Print HP. So function on hurt box, hurt damage. That looks right. If movement, vector 2, 0, all that stuff. All that looks good. So that player script looks good.
And hopefully a way of destroying the enemy. And now
Let's go back. Let's take a look at the enemy doggo script. So that's the enemy. Okay. Movement speed, HP, player sprite, anim, log, global position, move and slide. That looks fine.
from the game. So it's effectively a way of destroying the enemy. Deletes the random queue doing the player takes, just so you can see it down below. And in the enemy, we're going to be doing.
I am not following. And we have officially broken this. And I don't know where to go to fix it. On a separate note, I never actually pulled up my dashboard.
Thing that keeps coming up. That's a Tim.
So we should be able to see a couple things here. Yeah, okay, we got our pre-rolls off. We're fine there. So clear those errors with the stack trace. So we're having an error here. And I'm not sure why it's causing that. Cooldown, no match. Toolbox type it. So the hurt box cooldown is damage. Enemy doggo, hurt box. Set to cooldown. Hit box is set to 1. On area entered, damage 1. If area is in group attack, function on area entered 2D. On area entered. So he didn't have this on here.
There's this project, and then so we're just going to start this timer.
No,
Dots.
pause it, go back. So on disable timer, one shot is on. Disable timer, one shot's on. Layer, disable timer, one shot's on. Okay. So then play. It's going, doing our thing. Boom, detonates. Still broken. Son of a bitch. Okay. So, how do we go about fixing this? Trying to go back through all my code and double check everything. Because I don't understand how to diagnose the stack frames, if that's the error. Because I changed that. No. So we ignore that. What errors is it giving us? The local variable... Oh, here we go. The local variable damage is declared, but never used in the block. The signal hurt is declared, but never explicitly used in the class. So signal, hurt, damage. And that's in our enemy doggo.
After
Let's see if he has a place where he just talks about this. Let's see, he's going over the hurt box there. Hitbox. Probably does it real quick. Wait, enemy doggo. Oh no, because I am in the hurt box thing. He's got that selected.
and then damage as an argument. So
Variable damage.
when we emit this signal, it's going to send in the area's damage, and that's going to be the hit.
Export variable damage 1. So it's clear. We'll try it again. It'll detonate on us. So the signal hurt is declared but never explicitly used. Don't recall being hurt somewhere else. Yeah, emit signal hurt. So in the end, we have the hurt box attached to it, which is right here. I don't think that's going to make the difference. No. I must be missing something somewhere on why this isn't connecting. So in the hurt box, we have the signal, hurt, damage. We emit the signal, hurt, and then damage here.
I'm going to call it, so we actually have to add the... we added the...
Alright, we are going to back up to the start. Try and follow along with everything that we just did. Wait, I just saw something. On hurt, function on hurt box hurt damage. Let's get rid of that.
area 2D, which is just a area that detects collision but doesn't actually enforce it. We're going to give this a collision. Yeah, no, I'm going to and control set and save the hitbox in there and then add a new script. So we're going to start of I'm getting things. A very hitbox is the aggressive one. So we're going to just give this a very simple export variable for damage. I'm going to make that equal 1.
So the hitbox has the export variable damage 1.
And we're going to save that for now. We will be returning to our hitbox, but we're going to be making our hurt box, which is in a very similar structure in area 2D, which I'll rename as hurt box. It's going to have a collision shape, and it's also going to have a timer. Now I'm going to control S to save the hurt box in the utility folder, and add a new script to it. Now I'm just going to get my my reference script so I don't screw anything up. And we are going to be making multiple types of hurt boxes within the same script. And we're going to be doing this by creating an export enum. And this is going to define what the style of hitbox is going to be. So we're going to be making one which has called cooldown, one which is called hit once, and one which is called disable hitbox.
And this is all being made in the hurt box. Variable hurt box type 0.
And this is going to be a variable, and this is going to be called the hurt box type, and we're going to make it equal 0 because cooldown is 0, hit once is 1 and disable hitbox is 2 because it is an enum. Now, I'm just going to quickly do some referencing. So onReady var collision equals collision shape 2D.
OnReady variable collision shape 2D.
OnReady var disable timer equals get. Well, we're not going to do a get node. Instead, I'm just going to rename this as disable timer.
Are all my things set correctly? In the hurt box, we have it as disable timer. Hitbox. What do you mean it's never explicitly
and we're
used?
just going to do
Like, on area entered, you meant to signal hurt to pull the damage. I'm getting ahead of myself.
disable timer signal. We're going to create a signal from the area. So what a signal is, it's a built-in condition for a node type. So for an area type, which is able to detect collisions but not actually enforce them, we are able to detect if an area enters our area. So let's say, for example, our hitbox enters our area, our hurt box. We want to run the area entered. We'll do a bit more in Fury time there, but to connect a signal, you double click it.
Function on area entered area.
It will create a receiver method. It will try to connect to
Hey,
a
I can do it.
which
How
is
are you?
normally the parent. And we click on connect, and it creates a new function.
I saw you pop
So
in
now,
yesterday too.
whenever an
I
area
didn't actually
enters,
realize I didn't have my
this
chat working
will
at the time
trigger.
though.
So we're going to be trying to get the
I am trying to
hitbox
troubleshoot this
to be
and
detected
I don't
in
know
this
what
script.
is
So
happening.
I'm going to start this with if area, and the area is going to be the area that enters, is in group attack. Currently this does nothing because there's no group called attack, but we're going to
Yeah. So we started making our way through this one. We got a bunch of the code written and followed through. And our game crashes every time we try and do anything. So like we got all of our scenes saved. Press play. We got our awesome stick man here. As soon as the enemy touches them. What? Okay. Now it works. I didn't do anything different. When he goes over here, it just detonates. It just booms. Oh, hey, welcome on in. I can do it. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with this. Cool. Well, welcome on in. Glad you're here. So as you can see, we can now headbutt animals, and oh no, that one didn't work either. Great. So sometimes it kills it. One time it killed it. And we keep playing. And another time it locks the game up. Like that. So we're trying to troubleshoot it. I don't know what I did wrong. But yeah, it's wrong. The only thing I could potentially think of is maybe we did something where we screwed it up based on the collision shapes. So we've got a hit box. We've got the hurt box, which is the one on the outside. When this touches the player, I know it didn't become a hat. And apparently that's not supposed to happen either. But yeah, So, sorry, not hide that one. So the collision for the dog is right here. When the hurt box is the one that's supposed to connect with the player's... Wait. Yes. Enemy doggo has a hitbox. Did I get these backwards? I think I may have. Let's try this. No. That's right. Because the hitbox is what the hurt box is what actually does the damage. The hitbox is what we want to be considered the base of the enemy so that it can get hit. Which we're not there yet. And then the actual collision shape is in here. So enemy doggo, collision, hurt box, collision, and then hitbox and collision. So then the player, he's got his hurt box. So now when it touches, boom. Okay. That didn't help. And I don't know how to read these errors. So it's declared but never explicitly used. But it emits the signal right here. It emits the signal that it's hurt. And then sends out the damage. And then the player, when the area entered, yeah. So the player, when it calls that the hurt box was hurt, as here, it takes that damage value and takes its HP, which we declared up here, and it's supposed to subtract the damage. We're going to try this just because I don't think that's going to fix it, but no, it did not. I doubt that's going to change anything. So the signal in the hurt box is declared in the hitbox. So the enemy doggo, he's got the hitbox and he's got the hurt box. Did I miss something here? Back up.
Add our hitbox into the attack group. Just gonna Control S that to save.
Kill that. Our hitbox is in the attack group. Okay. I don't know what that did, but it's in there.
Box into the attack group. Just gonna Control S that to save. We're then going to check if
area is in group attack. This doesn't make any sense to me.
The area has the variable. We're then going to check if the area has the variable damage. So we're checking that it does have damage because we're going to need this value, and we want to make sure that our hurt box script isn't going to crash the game. So this is why we do the checks.
Or is
We're then going
crashing
to
the game
match
though?
the hurt box type. And this is going to be sort of how the hurt box resets itself. So on our enum, we're going to be checking for cooldown. If it is on the cooldown, we're going to disable the collision shape.
No,
2D.
no one watched me. Just you that I'm aware of.
This with collision dot call deferred. Set
That's why I'm trying to go through all of this stuff and learn it.
disabled.
Because I don't know anything about programming, which is what's making this part particularly hard.
And this will disable the
And you. That's right. Where am I going? So on the collision, match hurt box type, call deferred.
and this will disable the collision shape. Now,
So it's currently on. Wait, what do you mean you don't have a shape? I built shapes for you here. Jimmy Doggo has a hurt box and a hit box, and the player just has a hurt box because the player is not actually hitting anything. I have a very limited understanding of programming. Like, I know some of the concepts behind it, but not enough to figure out why this isn't working. So I'm basically just having to rewatch this to try and figure it out.
collision dot disabled equal true, and this will technically work, but there is a issue when this is done in real time, and the description actually says this project should be changed with object.setDeferred. You'll get a bug when this happened. And then after a short period of time, let's set this to 0.5 seconds. So we're just going to start this timer, dot start, and we're going to connect a new signal.
Real quick, let's see what other people... Then I saw the collision.call deferred set disabled true. I put disable instead of disabled now. Okay. Let's go to our scripts. Hurt box. Collision set deferred set disabled true. No, we got that. Oh, nice. I don't know anything about hacking, but I hope if your friend knows anything, please tell him to come in here and help me fix this, because my big issue is I don't understand how to read these syntax errors, so it's hard for me to understand what I need to change and how to go about doing this. So that's kind of my issue. Function on in the hitbox, he's got that. On disable hitbox timer timeout. Function on disable hitbox timer timeout. Function temp disable. Doesn't look like anything changed there. He is just 16 years old. Well, there's always time to get started. I am twice that, plus some. I'm getting started a bit later. I don't know anything of the hacking side of it, but I'm glad he's learning something. I wish I had had the chance to learn this in school. I got to take half a semester of it in college and had to drop out because I had to come home. All right, so we're going to try this. Just copy his over. Hurt box. I don't see anything changing in here. Is it doing the thing? Oh, it's stuck as a hat again. All right. We're back to other problems again. Oh, wait, we had the wrong thing up. Let's try this. Nope. On the feet. Nothing. Stuck on the hat again. I wouldn't say I'm old, but I'm not young. That's true. All right, well, it stopped breaking, and I don't know why now. And that pisses me off. Come on. All right. On her box hurt. HP. Unless it just wasn't calculating damage. Nope. So it's not doing anything now. We've got all this code, and we have somehow backtracked even further. I didn't even see any changes. Her box type, it's set to cooldown. That's all right. Are you interested in game dev at all? Or what are you trying to do to stay interested? Because I find it kind of weird that someone might be coming by through a game dev channel if they're not interested in game development. But what kind of things interest you? Oh, wrong one.
Called timeout. So this will trigger when it the timer times out, which is going to be 0.5 seconds. So we're going to connect that signal, and we're just going to re-enable the collision shape. So instead of true, we'll set this to false because we don't want it to be disabled. And that's all we need to do for the cooldown. Now, the second type is going to be hit once. This is a bit more complicated, and we're not going to go into this in this tutorial. We will go into it in a future tutorial.
That's why I'm trying to kind of force myself to do it.
There's a couple of additional layers that need to be made.
I'm not typically a very patient person.
Create this hurtbox type. Now, the next one, which is going to be disable hitbox, is instead of disabling the collision shape in the hurtbox, we're going to be disabling.
So I've completed one project. One. And the downside was it didn't actually use a regular engine like this. So when it came to wanting to add new features or stuff like that, it was something I couldn't actually hard code and add the way I wanted to. But what I did do was not wallet. So the game I actually made is called Heroes of Xanfirth. It's a free-to-play game, and you can actually go check it out on Steam if you want. Old RPG Maker style. I was inspired by the classic RPGs of old. Just if you want something else to do. Tried to make it one of those like heavy choice-based things. You end up getting like 15 or 16 party members that can join you throughout the game. So you get to choose a variety of different ways to play through the game. This is mine. I made it about 3 years ago, roughly. But if you're interested, check it out. Like, I'm more familiar with the RPG Maker engine, so something that's a lot more like the visual programming stuff, wherein it's got a lot of the extra boxes and stuff to check. I wanted to try and learn an actual game engine. Oh, you don't have a computer. Are you on mobile, I'm guessing, then?
Disabling it within the hitbox. So we're going to be going if area.
I was trying to see if you don't have a computer. Are you watching this on Twitch mobile or something along those lines?
Dot has method, and I'm just going to call this method temp disable. This is going to be a user defined method which we'll add into our hitbox.
Nothing
later.
wrong with mobile.
We're going to do, if it has the method, we're going to temp disable it. After that, we're going to create a variable called damage equals area dot damage. And then we are going to emit our own custom signal that we made. So you can probably see that in our GD script signals, we've actually created our own one. So we're just going to type in emit signal.
Yes.
Hurt. And then damage as an argument. So
that's exactly what I got. So be gone. All right. So trying to make sure I have all my code the same way he's got his. Variable damage equals area dot damage. And then we've got ours in here. Variable damage equals area dot damage. Then emit the signal for hurt damage.
So when we emit this signal, it's going to send in the area's damage, and that's going to be the hitbox. Now, we added this temp disable. We're trying to call it, so we actually have to add the it within our script. So I'm just going to be doing a little bit more referencing. So once again, we're just going to rename this, and I'm just going to be calling this disable hitbox timer.
Make sure I have that. So disable hitbox timer.
And then we're just going to do the standard onReady var collision equals collision shape 2D onReady var disable timer equals disable hitbox timer.
Oh, which one? So that's in the hitbox. Disable hitbox timer, collision shape 2D, onReady variables.
Timer, and then we're just going to do a function temp disable.
Function temp disable.
And it's exactly this. Well, it's very similar to how the hurtbox does it, which is just call third set disabled true. Then we're going to start our disable timer. Well, and I say it's similar. What I actually mean is that it's identical to it. So once again, we're going to make this every half second. The frame is going to re-enable.
So disable hitbox timer. Disable hitbox timer, go to the inspector. It's set to the one shot. It's set to the 0.5 seconds. So we're still good there.
And it's going to be a one shot.
Disable
so
timer dot start.
Once. Going to connect the timeout to our hitbox. And
on disable hitbox timer timeout, which connects to the hitbox. We're good there.
And we're just going to re-enable the
collision call deferred. Set it false.
Collision shape. False. And that is actually all we need to do with the hitbox, except for collision layers. So at the moment, these areas and these functions will kind of...
Did I... It can't... I'm hoping that's not it, right? That was it. There's a little checkbox here. That's all I needed. Why did he disappear, though? Damn it. All right, it's kind of fixed. We forgot to check this one little box here, and that's all it was. Because of a change in software from this, he didn't have that box when he set up the attack type.
Anything...
Where is it? Like, back here somewhere. Yeah, like he just manages the tag and sets it in here. I have to actually go in and select it as an attack. So if we go back and look at our hurt tag, it was doing this. It was saying the area is, or the area was not in the attack group because the hurt box was not being set that way. Or the hitbox wasn't set that way. So then it was skipping all of this. You can see the indentions for the help in the classification. So because it was skipping this, emit signal hurt was never referenced. So when it tried to do this to call in the damage from before, it was crashing. Because it was like saying, hey, we need to subtract this value. But this value's never been established. Oh, my head. I hate it so much. Because all it takes is simple things like that. But now, we have a couple other things we need to focus on. Like, why did our guy disappear when it took a certain amount of damage? I don't think it's supposed to. Also, let's check if he still functions as a hat. He did 3 damage and functioned as a hat. No longer a hat. Oh, okay, well, it hits and disappears. So the numbers you can see down here in the bottom left are tracking my HP. Nope, now it just disappeared. Are you going to do anything this time? You just straight up disappear now. Okay. We've got other problems. He just disappears after a short time. Great. And I've changed so many other random things now that I don't know if where I'm at in the tutorial is actually working or not.
Just gonna in the script, you'll be able to start seeing some HP values. Oops, my bad. So walking towards us, and you can see right there that the player's HP is going down in values. And
So that's what's supposed to happen. Yeah. And so I'm wondering if maybe I screwed up somewhere in here. So function on hurtbox hurt, it's supposed to call damage. His HP is set to 10. So he shouldn't be dying. This makes me think he's taking damage. So on hurtbox hurt, it's being damaged. Where is it calling? We established the signal, but we don't actually call it to be hurt until on area entered. This is why I dislike programming. Sometimes you just sit here and stare at a screen and you just don't know. Player hurt box. You have one. You have collision shape. You have your hurt box, which is right there. We got our sprite. We got our enemy dog, who has a hitbox. Wait. I think that might be what's causing it. I bet he's hitting himself. Okay, so we want the hitbox here to only interact with that. We want the hurt box to be attached to the player so that he doesn't hit himself. Is that it? Don't disappear. Don't disappear. He's alive. He's alive. Do I search what strategy is used by programmers to be programmers? I have not looked at that, actually. Haha, yes. All right, I fixed it. The monster was attacking himself. Now, the ultimate question. Do we still have a hat? Yes. He still gets stuck on your head. Now he just continues to damage you while he's stuck on your head. All right, I want to see what happens when we get our health down to 0. Because I don't think we ever actually defined it. So I think it's just going to continue ticking down to the negative. Let's take our guy for a walk. See what happens if we reach the edge of the map first. Or if it kills us. We have gone off the map. Yep. We never officially programmed a game over thing, so your health can just go negative forever. I still have no idea why he gets stuck on your head. But since the player doesn't have any way to deal damage to the enemy yet, the enemy's hurt box is just in here taking no damage. So that's cool. We figured that out. We got our invulnerable enemy to now... Well, sorry. We got our monster that was dying to stop instantly dying. We fixed our thing so that it was actually being a player. Do we need to group that? Probably, but... Oh no, that's just saying the hurt box is not in the players group, which is fine. But our doggo can kill you. Kind of. Alright. I'm going to take like a 2-minute break, mentally reset, and come back. Now that we can finally make a little bit of progress. So, I will be back soon. I will find some music to put on for you, and we will be back. Oh, where is... Let's see. What's something good to put on? There we go.
I'm done spending an
Not that. That's an advertisement. What? Boom. Right there.
And you can see this by clicking on visible collision shapes, that when the player gets hit, that the player, the script, you'll be able to start seeing some HP values. Oops, my bad. So walking towards us, and you can see right there that the player's HP is going down in values. And you can see this by clicking on visible collision shapes, that when the player gets hit, you can see that it's going from gray to blue as it's set to the cooldown. But if we go into the player's hurt box, go into the hurt box type and change this to disable hitbox, what you'll find is that the enemy's hurt box is going to go gray and then blue. So that's how these hurt boxes, hidden pit boxes work. There's going to be a lot of discussion in Fury time, so meet you there.
Behold!
Disney
Meet you there. In the tutorial, we used something called signals, and I wanted to go over them again with a bit more detail. A signal is a built-in condition that can trigger a function in another script. In our example of an area 2D, we used an area entering into another area condition. But each node will have many unique signals. It will also inherit any signals from its parent type. So you can see that an area 2D is also a collision object 2D, which is also a canvas item, which is also a node, which is also an object. I would primarily focus on learning the node-specific signals, but just keep in mind that there are a lot of them and it's easy to get overwhelmed. As you saw in the tutorial, you are also able to make your own custom signals. You declare it up top and then call it with emit signal. And to connect, you just go to the scene and connect it to the script that you want. The Godot community has a saying with signals: signal up, call down. What this means is that it's typically better to use signals to call a parent script than it is to call a function of a parent. For example, with the hurt box, instead of signals, we could use a getParent.hurt instead of using the hurt signal and connecting it to the parent, but it is advised to use signals since the parent may not always have the hurt function, or perhaps you don't want to connect the signal with the parent after creating a multi-purpose object. As a whole, it's just a cleaner implementation to implement, and I feel like it's easier to maintain. This isn't a hard rule or anything like that, so if you find a case where calling a parent function is easier, then go for it, but do keep in mind that signals should be a preferred option in most cases. As shown in the tutorial, Godot has collision layers, and there are 32 layers within the UI. These layers impact body and area nodes and make it so that in order for them to collide with each other, they need to share a physics layer. In addition to layers, there are masks, and they do two different things. The layer tells us, I exist on the following layers. The mask tells us, I will collide with items that exist on the following layers. So if we go back to our project, we will note that we really only need the enemy hitbox to be on layer 2 and not on mask 2. And for our player's hurt box, we only need it to be on mask 2. And on the enemy's hurt box, we should really only have this on mask 3. The hurt box needs to be colliding with something to activate its area entered signal, and the hitbox just needs to exist on the layer. If we wanted to connect one of the entered/exit signals on the hitbox, we would need to put it on the layer rather than just the mask. Now, in this tutorial, you can be lazy and just keep them both at the same time, but it's an important distinction to keep in mind. This can improve in performance and reduce bugs for more complicated projects. So whenever an area with group attack enters the hurt box, it will check if it has a damage value associated with it. If it does, we will check the hurt box type. If it's cooldown, then the hurt box collision shape will be disabled for 0.5 seconds. Afterwards, it will be re-enabled. If it's disable hitbox, then we will check if the collision shape for the area in the attack group has the method temp disable. If it does, the area.temp disable method is called, and it will have its collision shape disabled for 0.5 seconds. Regardless of how the collision shape is disabled, the area damage will be thrown into the hurt signal, which when connected to our player or our enemy, will reduce the body's HP by the damage argument, which is the damage value within our hitbox object. In today's episode, we're going to teach you how to dynamically spawn enemies. Hello, and welcome to how to create a survivor's clone in Godot 4. So today we're going to be creating our enemy spawner, which means we no longer need this kobold within our world scene. Instead, we're just going to start off by creating a 2D scene. I'm going to be renaming this to, I'm going to just get my resources up, enemy spawner, and I'm going to be adding a timer to the creating a 2D scene. I'm going to be renaming this to, I'm going to just get my resources up, enemy spawner, and I'm going to be adding a timer to this as well, and we're just going to be saving this under utility. Now I'm going to be adding a script to this, just going to be keeping it very simple, and the first thing that I'm going to do is create a export variable, and this is going to be a very significant feature which was added to Godot 4. What we're going to be doing was not possible in Godot 3, and it's been a feature that I was so excited to have. And it's about being able to create custom classes and put them into an array. So I'm just going to start off by making this just a resource, which is just a generic kind of, and we're going to be changing this later. So we are going to be changing this to something called spawn info. This later. So we are going to be changing this to something called spawn info. So I'm going to go into my utility folder, I'm going to right click, and I'm going to click new script. And I'm going to call this script spawn underscore info. We're going to go into create. I am going to delete everything here, and we're going to go into a unique script, which I'm going to delete everything here and just type in resource. And we're going to be giving this a class name, which just means we can reference this as a class. So we're just going to call this spawn info. And we're going to give this a bunch of export variables. Time start, export var time end. All of these are just going to be defined as integers. So this is what the :int is. Make sure that Godot knows that this is expected to be a certain type. So we want var enemy. This is going to be a resource. At export var enemy number, enemy num, going to make that int. And finally, export var enemy spawn delay, which is also going to be an int. Now, I'm also going to be creating a variable called spawn delay counter equals 0. I'm going to save this, and we now, oh, I think this is meant to be just one space, going to save it. And now what we're able to do is we're going to be able to go back into our enemy spawner, go into our script, and instead of resource, I'm able to type in spawn info. And now within my enemy spawner, we're able to increase the size, and we're able to add a new spawn info. And now within my enemy spawner, type in spawn info. And now within my enemy spawner, we're able to increase the size, and we're able to add a new spawn info, which is that script, which is going to have a lot of different variables associated with this. Now, unfortunately, there is a bug where it still thinks it's a resource rather than a spawn info scene. So we're getting errors here at the moment where failed to set a resource for the type resource, because this editor resource picker only accepts spawn info and its derivatives. We fixed this bug by closing the game and reopening it. So I am going to go into, let me just get this up again. We're just going to do this by going into games and utility. And we are going to be opening our project again, and this will fix the problem. So now we'll go in, and we can now see that instead of resource, this is a spawn info where we're able to set a couple of conditions. So
everyone knows me as Maddie.
for example, I'll have to explain this as we type this, but we can set a range of times where we want the enemy to spawn. We can set the enemy that we want to spawn as well. This is just going to be our basic enemy kobold weak scene, or just our enemy. Currently says the player, that's just a bug. We want one enemy to spawn, and we'll give this a 1 second delay. This currently does nothing, but you could add multiple kind of spawn infos into this one export array. I'm just going to keep it at 1 for the moment, and then I'm going to go into the script. Now, there's a bit to type, so we're going to need to get a onReady version of the player. So just do our player equals get tree dot get first node in group player. We're going to have a variable for time, which is going to equal 0, and that's all good. So now we're just going to have a function. Oh, so now what we're going to do is we're going to be connecting our timer to our enemy spawner, and so every second we're also going to make this an auto start. All good. So now we're just going to have a function. Oh, so now what we're going to do is we're going to be connecting our timer to our enemy spawner. And so every second, we're also going to make this an auto start. We're going to increase the time by 1 point. So one second equals 1 time. And then we are going to be starting a variety of loops. So for I in oh, actually, no, before we do this, var enemy spawns equals spawns. So enemy spawns equals our export array. Which is our spawn infos. And then for I in enemy spawn, so for each of these, we will check, number 1, if time is greater or equal to I.time start, and time is less or equal to I.time end, so it has to be in between, we're just going to continue
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize I had my mic muted. I've been muted for a while. Sorry about that. Yeah, I went to go do like a 5-minute break and reset, and I forgot to turn my mic back on. So you should be good now. I hope. Thank you for calling me out on that. I need to finish writing these codes out that he's writing real quick. So, for I in enemy spawns, if time is equal to or greater than, or sorry, greater than or equal to I.time start, and, no, and time is less than or equal to I.time end.
Continue the script. If I.spawn delay counter is less than I.enemy spawn delay, we're going to increase the
Okay. So also if I.spam delay counter is greater than I.enemy spawn delay.
I.spawn delay counter to plus equals 1. So this is specifically this variable right here, and this is just saying that we want to spawn this after every kind of 2 seconds. So we have to wait an additional second before we spawn our enemy. So in the case where...
Welcome on in. Always happy to have people around. It took me a minute to understand, but yes, my mic I forgot to turn back on. But I should be good now. You can hear me, right?
It is equal or greater. In most cases, it will just be equal. We're going to set our spawn delay counter back to 0.
So else I spawn delay counter equals 0. I think that's supposed to be on the next line, though. Cool.
And then we are going to get our new enemy scene, which is going to be new enemy equals load. And load needs a string path. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be typing str, which gives us a string. And we are going to be getting the enemy, the I dot enemy dot resource path. And the I, so the I is the specific size of the array, the enemy is this scene, and the resource path is just the path that it's used to find here. So in our case, it would...
Okay, so I'm going to move this up here and type that out again. Variable new enemy equals load string I dot enemy dot resource path.
Resource path. And the I, so the I is the specific size of the array, the enemy is this scene, and the resource path is just the path that it's used to find here. So in our case, it would be cool. This enemy/enemy.tscn right here. After that, we're going to create a new counter, or var counter equals 0, and we're going to have a while loop. And so while our counter is less than the enemy number, so the number of enemies that we want to spawn, we're going to instantiate the enemy spawn. So we're going to be doing var enemy spawn. So instead of spawns, we'll do var enemy spawn equals new enemy.
Okay, there's a lot to write up in this section. So, variable counter is 0. And while counter is less than I.enemy number variable enemy spawn equals new enemy.
Dot instantiate. And this creates an instance of our new enemy. Now, afterwards, we're going to set the global position, enemy.global position, And this is going to equal a user created function that we're going to make called get random position, which I'm just going to quickly make here. Function get random position, and I'm just going to leave this empty for now, but this will do something later. And then we're going to add the child, which is just actually spawning it into the world pretty much. So enemy spawn, and then I'll just do a counter plus equals 1. If we're going too fast, we'll go through this in theory time, so don't worry. Now, to get our random position, we're going to get our viewport rect. So var VPR stands for viewport rect equals get viewport rect dot size. Now, I don't want to get the edges of the screen. I want there to be a bit of a range. So I'm going to be multiplying this by a random float between 1.1 and 1.4. So it's going to be a fairly large rectangle. After that, we're going to be getting all four corners. So var top left equals vector2, since we want a specific point. And we're going to be getting the player dot global position dot x minus VPR dot x divided by 2 dot x divided by 2, and this will give us the left side. And then for our y coordinate, we're going to be getting player dot global position dot y
Oh, this is so long.
minus VPR dot y divided by 2 to get our top position. And this is because, and you may be asking, y minus, it's because the y is inversed in 2D in Godot. It's kind of annoying, but it just kind of is what it is. So I'm just going to do a quick copy and paste this 4 times, and we are going to be doing
got my windows
top
mixed
left, we'll do top right. Minus, it's because the y is inversed in 2D in Godot. It's kind of annoying, but it just kind of is what it is. So I'm just going to do a quick copy and paste this 4 times, and we are going to be doing, instead of top left, we'll do top right. Instead of top left here, we'll do bottom left, and for this variable, we'll do bottom right. And we need to differentiate. So in the case of top right, we need to change the x variable. So we want this to be, and right is a positive x, so we're just going to do the player scene plus half of the rectangle, and that's going to push us into the appropriate direction. For the bottom left, we just have to change the y coordinates, so I'm going to make that plus, because Oz down is a positive y in Godot, and for the bottom right, we're just going to have a positive right as well. So afterwards, we need to pick a random size. So I'm going to do var.
Hold on, looking at this, based on the logic he just used. So it's minus x minus y plus x minus y. So bottom right, he's got x, or plus x minus y. He's got the same thing on both of them. Shouldn't this be either plus here then? Or he's getting one of these mixed up? So x is left. All right. I need to think about this for a second. Let's go look at Godot on our actual 2D. We've got our map. We can pull this up. I'm going to move him up here to this upper window just so I can look at it. So the top left will be negative x, negative y. That's good. Top right will be positive x, negative y. And then we want bottom left, it should be negative x, positive y. That's right. And then positive x, negative y. Wait, what? My head. My head! Here's the top right is positive x, negative y. In the bottom right, he's got plus x. Yeah, negative y again. So his bottom one, if I'm right, should be positive x, positive y. So we're trying to go to this corner for the bottom right. So we're going to go change our script. Because I'm going to assume he's wrong on this one.
Pos side equals, and I'm just going to create an array, and I'm going to type in certain things. So we've got up, we've got down, get rid of the insert key right there. We've got right, and we've got left.
Variable positive side. Let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, up, down, left, right. No, not top right. Just right.
And then I'm going to do a function that is hot off the presses. Like, this was not available in the previous version of the beta. So I'm going to do array.pickRandom. And this is going to pick a random value in this array. We don't
Pick random. Okay.
need to do any funky business like we used to. So then we're going to have to get a random spawn. So var spawn pos1 equals vector 2.0. We're just initiating them at the moment, so no need to worry. We're not going to be using vector 2.0, so we're just getting 2 spawn points. And then what we're going to be doing is we're going
Variable spawn.pos. pos1 equals vector 2.0. Okay. Expected end of statement after variable declaration found identifier. Dot pick random. Like that? Yes. That's how I messed it up. Okay. Good old syntax troubles.
to be matching whatever pos size we had. So match, match is a switch statement, and it's just saying, hey, if equal up, if equal down, if equal right, if equal left. So we're just gonna have these up there. So we've got up, and we're gonna have spawn pos1, and because it's up, we want this to be top left, and we want the second position to be equals top right, because we want to get the top side if we want.
All right, so match POS side. up. Spawn POS1 equals top left. Spawn POS2 top right.
Down. Spawn POS1 is going to equal bottom left, and the spawn POS2 is going to equal bottom right. And for right, we are going to have spawn POS1, and this is going to equal top right, and spawn POS2, this is going to equal bottom right. Though maybe I should inverse them since y is positive. It doesn't really matter that much. And then we are going to have left, and it's just going to be top left, bottom left. So spawn POS1 equals top left, spawn, oh, I need another indent, spawn POS2 equals bottom left. So these spawn positions, we are then going to get a range between them. So we'll do a new variable called var x spawn, and this is going to equal a random float range. The F stands for float, and this is going to be the spawn1pos.x value between the spawn pos2.x value. And we're going to be doing the same with the y spawn, and this is going to be rand f range spawn 1.y, and this is going to be random range between spawn pos2.y. And then finally we are going to return a vector2 with the x value as the x spawn, which is going to be a random range between the spawn 1 and spawn 2 positions. Spawn x, and then y is going to be y spawn, and this is going to return, and this is going to give us our global position, and this should be,
It's saying I missed something in here. All right, so let's go back and take a look at this and compare it to what he's got. Variable x underscore spawn. These should be under here. Is that it? Those are just indentation problems? Looks like it.
enough to get enemies spawning. So I'm going to go into my 2D scene. I'm going to drag and drop my enemy spawner into the world.
All right, so we go back to world. Oh, which one does he drag?
Us our global position, and this should be enough to get enemies spawning. So I'm going to go into my 2D scene. I'm going to drag and drop my enemy spawner in
the TSCN onto world.
into the world, and it defaults with this. I'm just going to leave this as so, and we should start having kobold spawn across the corner of the screen. And we've got one up top. Oh, that one just randomly spawned in there. Looks like we have a little bit of an issue. I don't know why that spawned there.
Ha ha ha. So let's test. Nope. Invalid access to property or key enemy spawn delay on a base object of type resource spawn info. Great. We just tested it. So we're at a point where we were supposed to try it, and it crashes. Right now, we have an issue with the spawn delay counter. So we are going to backtrack because his is working. So we missed something somewhere in there.
Less or equal spawn delay.
If spawn delay counter is less than, let's delete that real quick. If spawn delay counter is greater, less than, is that right? So that should be around like line 16. I think he added more spaces up in the top. Let's see if that is gonna fix it. No, the whole thing froze. Well, I'm glad I can make you laugh. I am here to fail for everyone else's purposes, or everyone else's laughter, whatever they think.
We're going to increase the
All right, let's see. Invalid access to property or key. Enemy spawn delay. Enemy spawn delay. Enemy spawn delay.
Spawn delay counter to plus equals 1. So this is specifically this variable right here, and this is just saying that
Aha. So enemy spawner. Thought I saved that. That was not the one I meant to do. All right, so let's see. He clicks on the enemy spawner. Enemy spawner. No, we need to go back to our enemy spawner. Enemy delay is at 1.
that we want to spawn this after every kind of 2 seconds. So we have to wait an additional second before we spawn our enemy. So in the
So invalid access to property or key enemy spawn delay on a base object of type resource spawn info. Great, because that totally means something to me. So if the time is less than or equal to that, is it this again? Dogs? Doggies? Where are you? I don't see any of you. And that's not great.
the case where
Oh, yeah, he only has size set to 1. Oh, no, wrong buttons. Let's try that. Hopefully that's not cause the issue. His His took a minute. Mine are not here. Let's do something else real quick, though. Enemy doggo. Enemy dog. Spectre. Movement speed. 2,000. This way. Yeah, they should have jumped right on top of us at that point. So we're missing something here.
Second before we spawn our enemy. So in the case where it is equal or greater, most cases it will just be equal, we're going to set our spawn delay counter back to 0. And then we
So spawn delay counter is less than enemy spawn delay. You know, fine. I don't like that you had this issue. Enough of that. I don't think that's going to make the difference. I am not being attacked by dogs. So, and my world scene. Did I not attach it? I thought I did. That is probably why. That was not why.
we are going to get our, if we want down,
All right, we got past this.
we need we are going as the positions. I expanded my 2D enough to get enemies spawning. So I'm going to go into my 2D scene. I'm going to drag and drop my enemy spawner into the world. And it defaults with this. I'm just going to leave this as so, and we should start
0, 60, enemy spawner attached to world. 1, 1. 0, 60, 1, 1. You're able to find that. Okay. Where is my spawn info? Okay, it's right there. But no, I don't think it would be that. I do live in the US. I live in Texas specifically.
kobold spawn across the corner of the screen.
I'm going to go through a little bit more of this tutorial and see if he fixes
And
it.
we've got one up top. Oh, that one just randomly spawned in there. Looks like we have a little bit of an issue. I don't know why that spawned there. So let me see. What have I done wrong? So the ranges, I believe, are all correct. Top left. When we go down, we want bottom left and we want bottom right. And the bottom left is the player position X. X divided by 2 plus divided by 2. Oh, I know why. This is meant to be plus. Cool.
Well, I was right on that one. Yes, advertisement. I don't care. Right now it's 3 o'clock. Boom.
And now we should have a variety of kobold spawning. Yeah, so we can see where.
Why do his work and not mine?
Started off low, and now it's no longer spawning immediately in the middle of the screen, and they are coming in from every single bloody direction. And they will continue spawning once every, I guess, 2 seconds. We'll get a new kobold for 60 seconds, and
PM for me. So 3 in the afternoon. All right, so I don't see where his stuff works and mine doesn't. Spawns, spawn info. Let's export on ready variable play, get tree. If I spawn delay counter is less than I spawn delay. If I spawn delay counter is less than I and we spawn delay. I don't spawn delay counter gets +1. Enemy spawn delay on a base object of type resource spawn info. All right, well, enjoy your food. If you get something good, let me know next time what you end up eating. And I hope you have a good night. Take it easy and rest well. I'm just going to be sitting here looking at a bunch of lines of code and pretending I know what they mean. Because I definitely don't. And trying to find out where I'm wrong. But I'll tell you what, we can do this. Wow. And we have access to a special tool that we can use a couple times a day because we are cheap. Let's see, trying to learn Godot. I can't figure out why this error is happening. And then we'll paste a picture. If it'll let us. See, and this is one of the great uses of ChatGPT. All right, so The error invalid access to property or key on a base object of type resource spawn info indicates that your spawn info object is being treated as a generic resource and not the specific type of resource you designed. This usually happens if Godot doesn't recognize the specific script associated with the resource or if the data is improperly initialized. So, steps to resolve this issue. Ensure correct type for spawn info resources. Verify that the spawn info resource is correctly defined in your project. I mean, it's defined as a resource, right? So then we can go back here. We'll check the very beginning. Spawn delay counter equals 0. Class name, spawn info.
I think this is meant to be just one space. Gonna save it, and now what we're able to do is we're gonna be
All right, let's double check this. Enemy. Oh, haha. Is that it? Is that what we were missing? Enemy spawn delay? Okay. And dogs? No, more errors. Signal hurt is declared but never explicitly used. Didn't we just fix that? I know we just fixed that. Like an hour ago. So it was right in there. Inspector. Enemy spawner. No, we're in the hurt box. Great, and it's broken again. Enemy spawn delay, enemy non-enemy resource, time end in spawn delay counter. So the hitbox is an attack. On timer timeout. Where is this at? Enemy spawner 14. Function on timer timeout. I don't understand what it means by breakpoints. Yeah. Oh, actually, that might be helpful, though. Inside loop. Well, which part of the loop? Well, I guess that doesn't really matter. We fixed that. So we got the enemy spawn delay back to where it's an integer. Enemy spawn delay, integer. I just don't know why it's going here. Wait, it worked? I didn't change anything. Help me. The dogs are attacking. No, the dogs are coming for me. I wonder what happens if I... Can I get a dog as a hat again still? Well, I need one to spawn above me. Yes. He can still be Hat Man. I have all the hats. All of the hats! Now, can they spawn outside of that area? They can. Debug. Get rid of these. I am being swarmed. Alright, so we can actually go back to the enemy doggo, though. Inspector. For the doggo. Change this back to 20. I don't know why it started working. It just did. I don't get it. But those still seem like way too fast dogs. Save all scenes. Come here, little puppies. Yeah, there you are. Wait, oh, they're popping in real close. Top left isn't going very top left for me. So that's a different issue it's causing. All right, so short, top left, bottom right, Some of them are spawning off on the edge. Far left side. Oh, there's one short left side. Short right side. Well, considering he had the issue too, maybe we can try and troubleshoot it. See what he did to fix it.
Randomly spawned in there. Looks like we have a little bit of an issue. I don't know why that spawned there. So let me see. What have I done wrong? So...
But that's good that we're getting the same bugs.
The
It means
ranges,
we did everything right.
I believe, are all correct. Top left. When we go down, we want bottom left, and we want bottom right. And the bottom left is the player position X. X divided by 2 plus divided by 2. Oh, I know why. This is meant to be plus. Cool. Of kobold spawning, yeah. So we can see where with that one, it started off low, and now it's no longer spawning immediately in the middle of the screen, and they are coming in from every single bloody direction. And they will continue spawning once every, I guess, 2 seconds. We'll get a new kobold for 60 seconds, and we'll have all the kobolds. And that is how to create an enemy spawner. Now, if you ever wanted to kind of change how this works, we could just...
But you see, my thing kind of works. Some of them are still spawning like nearby though. Some of them are spawning off on the edge. So like those are spawning on the edge. But there are some that are not getting that full range. Because we are slowly being swarmed to death. Now it's happening on the right side. Time to see how many hats we can collect. Oh, I love the puppies. All right. Back to trying to be productive, though.
Instead of having this, we could have it so that it's one... Oh. Let me just quickly... I think there is a weird bug where the default of this is that. So I'm just going to remove this, go back into the world, and then add my own unique size. Eyes for my enemy spawner, and I'm going to make it so that the first 5 seconds we're going to have just the enemy spawn, which is fine. I'm going to have one enemy, and we're going to have no delay. And then I'm going to create a new enemy spawn, and I'm just going to have that 5 to 60. Let's make it so that it has to spawn the enemy as well, and we're going to make this 10. And we're just going to see this flood. So you can see it go from one spawn to another spawn. So we have a couple of enemies being spawned in a nice delayed fashion. And now they're all coming. They're all joining us, and they are going to destroy us. And this is how you can start building ways for it.
All right, so let's back up and make it flood us.
I'm gonna make is how to create an enemy spawner. Now, if you ever wanted to kind of change how this works, we could just, instead of having this, we could have it so that it's one. Oh.
So he goes in here. Looks like this is what he was trying to change. Oh, it's probably telling us that we can't do it there because it's all tied in here. So spawn info. Yeah, here we can change it. So 5. New spawn info. Enemy. we are going to take the enemy doggo. It's going to start at 5. It's going to go to 10 seconds. It'll spawn 10 on a 1-second delay. And then we'll take the third one, new spawn. It's going to start at 10 seconds and it'll end at 60. We're going to bring our doggy in. No, bring the dog in. And it's going to spawn 50. And we'll do a 5-second delay. So then it should spawn a bunch or a few early. It's still spawning them super close. And then a bunch. Then as soon as we make it to about 10 seconds, we should start being significantly overrun. Oh yeah, it spawned one on my head. I feel like I'm getting attacked by a bunch of fire ants. So if I'm understanding this right, it should stop spawning enemies once we get to a minute. Oh, and this one was being a little overloaded. So we don't want to spawn enemies that fast. But it looks like it has stopped spawning them. Oh, I didn't want to get rid of that, but time start 0, time end 15. Number of enemies 1. Nope, not that. Oh, shut that off. Still spawning them real close. I feel like he didn't actually fix that. All he did was change that the bottom left one was coming in. But maybe I'll just double check that my code's the same as his. Top left, top right. Player.globalposition.x minus vpr.x divided by 2, comma, player.globalposition.y minus vpr.y divided by 2. Not sure why mine has these things after it, but up, down, right. You know what? Fine. You know what? Let's test this first. Before we test multiple things. Nope. Spawned in randomly short right there. Like some of them are spawning off the screen. feel like that divide by 2 thing may be what's causing some weird troubles. But like some of them spawned up there. Hmm. Let's take a look at the stuff in the video, see if they mention anything about it. The tips. Most things are right. Let's see. I don't see anything about it. So, hmm. Oh yeah, I didn't actually check if my guy was taking damage. So, let's do that. Yes, he is. But when multiple things get on him, is he taking multiple hits of damage at once? Or is it just one? He is taking multiple hits of damage. We move away and he's fine. Okay, cool. See, that's what I was thinking we would actually do. Build a spawner around the camera, not based on the player. Because that way you have the frame of the camera. You've always got the screen size. So that even when you're playing on like a different resolution, the camera is going to be the focus point for where they spawn. Hey, Pixel Mog. Thanks for coming in, buddy. I am trying to troubleshoot a problem in this tutorial that I was trying to follow. And what he says to do to fix it doesn't seem to fix it for me. So our problem, to show it off, we randomly have people that are going to spawn in like in this box area here, when they should be spawning in from the edge of the screen. Sometimes they spawn in like there, but here, like it just pops in. So that's where I'm kind of struggling right now to figure out how it's going to work. I'm not very happy with it. So if you have any input, by all means, throw it out there. I can't figure it out. This is our code for the enemy spawner. We're going to... Can I make this bigger somehow? Just so we can see more. No, we didn't fix our dog hat Zen. We still have that issue. Get rid of that. But now he's spawning on top of it. Some of them are spawning like right next to us. And if we go up here, we still get dog hats. Ah, well, welcome on in, Pixelmog. And because there's schedule in there, it prevents us from moving up that way. But now we can get multiple dogs stuck on our head. So we've got multiple functions, not bugs. That is an unintended function of the game. See, that's what I was thinking. So this is where I have the top left, right, bottom left, right defined. And it's supposed to pull the position of the player, find their vectors, and pull it from there. And he has, the person I'm trying to follow has it set up as like the X and Y values divide by 2. In his, they spawn in the correct place. In mine, sometimes they spawn in the correct place. So I'm almost wondering if it's doing like a pick random and that's somehow throwing it off. That is a good thing to go check. Where is here? So top left should be negative, negative, right? Negative, negative. Top right should be positive X, negative Y. Positive X, negative Y. Yeah. Then let's see, bottom left, negative X, positive Y. Negative X, positive Y. And positive X, negative Y. The only thing is he also uses this X divided by 2 function. I'm wondering if we just get rid of that. Let's try that and see how it goes. Is it spawning them at all? Oh, they're spawning way outside now. At least a couple of them were. Oh, wait. No, that one spawned kind of like down there on the edge. Nope, they're still spawning close. Yeah, I'm not actually sure what the VPR function is. So, thankfully, we have our good friend, this one. Yes. Godot, a VPR function, is not a term used in the engine standard terminology or documentation. However, it might refer to one of the following concepts. Custom abbreviation. It's a variable you defined on the top of that little block. Oh, variable VPR, yeah. Get viewport, random F range, 1.1, 1.4. I wonder, 1.4. So the viewpoint would be, let's double check what he put there then for that. Because I thought that was the right values. Yeah, so he's still got the 1.1, 1.4 values. Bottom right be plus on the X. It should. Did I not have it that way? Bottom right, yes. X plus viewpoint X. Oh, wait. What if this is just pulling a random value on the Y? Oh. Yeah. No, that's what it was. He had that in his tutorial video, like way back here when he was doing it, and he screwed it up. And he goes on to fix it, and I was just testing other stuff, trying to make it work. You know, I need to make this a lot easier if I'm going to redo this. I had it set that way initially because I thought he was wrong on that too, which he did fix it. I just didn't readjust it in my troubleshooting process. But this should take them back to spawning regularly within that range. Come on. Of course, now you're going to pick all the integers that are large and spawn way outside. Yep, of course. Now it fixes itself. Didn't really change anything. It just kind of works. So we'll test it a few more times. See if we can make them pop in. No pop. Come on. All right. We fixed it. Maybe. I still don't see any spawning in like short range. No, but we can do something really fun with this if we want to get crazy. Let's set that to 20,000. Let's go to our enemy spawner. Where was it? Spawn info, enemy spawn. Here. Time start. Enemy spawn. Let's do 20 enemies every second. 20 enemies every second. Make them move super fast and just watch them attack us. That was a little too fast. $2,000. Still too fast? Or did it not save? I guess that would have been about 100 times faster, so we may not have seen it. Let's set it to 200. There we go. So this way we can actually see if they're still spawning close by, which it doesn't look like they are. By pushing the number of mobs, it's a lot easier to kind of test that. And we're overloading what the system's trying to calculate, because why not? I don't know if that's a Godot limitation or just a debugging tool limitation. But we took almost 4,000 damage there. At 1 damage per tick when it connects with a hitbox. So, I mean, that's what, 3,000, 1,000 calculations a second. It should be able to handle that. But it's about that time. I don't want to really start another tutorial because I'm almost out of time for the day. So I'm going to jump ship, go find someone else, make sure other people are having a good time. Shush, not you. It was right there, just there. Let's go find people who are in this category. See if we can find someone new. Chill, pirate. Let's see. Anyone doing Godot? Oh, we did him yesterday. Adam Learns Live. I haven't talked to this guy yet.
This, I think, is pretty clear. There's a table, and it says your max customers at level 1 will be 1, at 2 will be 2, at 4 will be 5, at 5 will be 8.
Yeah, he seems very
I think
good.
we just need to do the same thing over here. So that instead of
All
just
right.
saying clone yourself.
I'm going to set my rate up so that we can head on over there. Pixelmog, thank you for coming in. Zen, pleasure to see you as always. And how do I do this? Adam Learns Live. I will catch y'all next time. I'm going to try and get some stuff set up and see about what we're going to do. What? Adam Learns Live. I can't raid him? All right, fine. I can't raid him, but I'm going to go in and say hi. If you want to join me, please do. I will catch y'all later. See ya.